The galaxy thought it had fooled Earth. "They're weak," the alien traders boasted, their multifaceted eyes glinting with arrogance. "They'll buy anything we sell. Broken hulls, useless reactors, they won't even notice. Humans are too primitive to realize they're being cheated." And in a way, they were right, or so they believed. On a cold, storm-lashed night on Earth's orbiting shipyards, Admiral Kale stood on the observation deck, staring at the rows of derelict spacecraft the aliens had so smugly marketed as cutting-edge warships. These ships were relics, rusted in places, engines that stuttered with barely a whisper of thrust. Every deck panel groaned under its own weight. Weapons were misaligned. Shields flickered like dying stars. The aliens had called it the ultimate defense fleet. Humans called it a scam. Kale clenched his fists, his knuckles white beneath the metal gloves. "They think they can fool us," he muttered. "They think they can trick the galaxy's most underestimated species. Let them watch." The fleet looked pathetic by any standard. To the untrained eye, it was scrap metal masquerading as warships. But Kale and the engineers knew the truth. Humans did not see obstacles. They saw potential. Every dent, every malfunctioning plasma conduit, every rusted hull plate was a challenge. And humans love challenges. Inside the sprawling engineering bays, thousands of technicians and engineers moved like a synchronized swarm. The hum of fusion cores, the hiss of welding torches, and a low rumble of repair drones filled the cavernous space. Each human knew what the aliens did not. They had patience, ingenuity, and a ruthlessness hidden beneath calm faces. This fleet was not a disaster. It was raw material. It was a weapon waiting to be born. Kale's first order was deceptively simple. Strip everything non-essential. If it's broken beyond repair, use it to build something new. Every system, every panel, every engine must serve a purpose. Nothing wasted. Nothing left. Some engineers raised eyebrows. "Sir, these ships are almost obsolete," one technician said. "Even with repairs, they'll barely hold up in combat." Kale's eyes burned. Obsolete? Perhaps. But no one has ever seen what humans do with obsolete technology. They'll see soon enough. The process began with meticulous analysis. The engineers scanned every ship, every reactor, every weapon mount. They noted weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and inefficiencies. Broken weapons became the foundation for new, more powerful armaments. Corroded hull plates were reforged into composite armor stronger than anything in the galaxy. Engines that sputtered and stammered were redesigned, rebuilt, and enhanced with human fusion techniques that the aliens couldn't even imagine. Weeks passed. Months blurred. The alien traders continued their smug negotiations, unaware that their scam fleet was being transformed. They assumed humans were slow, inefficient, perhaps even overcautious. But human patience was not weakness. It was strategy. Every repair, every modification, every upgrade was deliberate. Humans were not just fixing what was broken. They were evolving it, elevating it, making it something the galaxy had never seen before. Beyond engineering, there was strategy. Kale had convened the top tacticians, analysts, and war historians. The alien fleet was poorly documented. Its previous owners had left gaps, inconsistencies, and flaws in its architecture. Humans studied these gaps, dissected their enemy's psychology, and planned not only how to fight, but how to terrify. Every weapon system, every shield modulation, every squadron formation was designed to exploit weaknesses that the aliens didn't even know existed. And yet, the most terrifying transformation was not physical. It was psychological. The aliens believed they had cheated Earth. They believed the humans were weak, gullible, and compliant. That belief, Kale realized, was their greatest vulnerability. Humans fed on underestimation. Humans thrived when others believed them inferior. Each day that passed in orbital bays, each calculation and blueprint drawn, made this truth more dangerous. Finally, the day came when the first ships were ready. They rose from the shipyards like metallic phantoms, sleek, deadly, and impossibly fast. To the galaxy at large, they looked like the same broken fleet, unchanged, perhaps still inferior. But those who understood technology, who studied warcraft and mechanics, could feel the difference. These were not the ships the aliens had sold. They were something new, something terrifying, something that would change the galaxy's perception of humanity forever. Kale stood on the observation deck as the first ship fired its engines. The plasma reactors hummed, not with faltering sputters, but with a steady, perfect resonance. Weapon systems activated with surgical precision, targeting arrays that could lock onto hundreds of moving objects simultaneously. Shields pulsed in synchronization with the hull's vibrations, making the ships almost impossible to hit. Every system worked together as if alive, responding to threats and anticipating attacks before they happened. A young engineer approached Kale, a written across his face. "Sir, it's incredible. They'll never know what hit them." Kale allowed a small smile. "They'll know soon enough. And when they do, the galaxy will remember the night humans turned scrap into terror." Below them, in the assembly bays, drones scuttled over the fleet performing final calibrations. Panels slid into place, weapons hummed, and engines warmed. The fleet was alive in a way the aliens would never understand. It was more than metal and circuitry. It was a statement, a message, a warning. "This is only the beginning," Kale whispered, looking out at the vast expanse of stars. "They sold us junk, and we're about to make it their nightmare." For the first time in galactic history, Earth's fleet was a paradox. Outwardly weak, but internally unmatched. Outwardly broken, but fundamentally unstoppable. And when the aliens realized what humans had done, it would already be too late. The countdown echoed across Earth's orbital shipyards, a quiet but heavy drumbeat that seemed to shake the very void around them. All systems online. Launch sequence engaged. Admiral Kale's calm, commanding voice carried over every channel, each word precise, filled with the weight of purpose. The fleet stirred below, rows upon rows of ships that, to the casual observer, looked like the same worthless scrap the aliens had sold them. To anyone not paying close attention, these vessels were nothing more than junk, rusted, dented, engines sputtering, shields flickering. But Kale and his crew knew differently. These ships, outwardly weak, had been transformed by human ingenuity. What the galaxy saw as trash, humans had turned into an instrument of terror. Every panel, every weapon mount, every stammering engine had been analyzed, redesigned, and integrated into a perfectly functioning whole. The aliens had thought they could mock humanity with this so-called fleet. They had not counted on human patience, intelligence, or ruthless creativity. Kale's eyes scanned the fleet as the first ships activated their engines. The hum of energy pulsed in unison, and the observation deck vibrated with the force of collective fusion reactors. Sparks danced along seams, and faint trails of ionized particles streaked from the thrusters. It was beautiful, deceptive, and deadly. "Engage launch thrusters," Kale ordered, his voice unwavering. The fleet lifted as one, a single entity of metal and energy. Ships rotated, engines flaring, plasma cores glowing in perfect synchronization. From afar, it could have been mistaken for a ceremonial display, almost elegant in its ascent. But there was nothing ceremonial about what was about to happen. Each movement had purpose, every trajectory calculated for maximum effect. The aliens had no idea that what they had sold as worthless scrap would now become the galaxy's most terrifying weapon. The fleet's destination was clear: the alien station orbiting Zithra, a world rich in minerals and strategic importance. The station itself was massive, bristling with turrets, interceptor drones, and layers of shields. To the aliens, it was impregnable. To humans, it was a challenge. As the fleet approached the target, every ship in formation moved with precision beyond what any alien algorithm could track. The fleet was not just fast. It was adaptable, fluid, and deadly. Missiles were prepped, plasma cannons calibrated, drones deployed, all systems running in perfect synchronization. The aliens, confident in their defenses, did not detect the subtle changes in trajectory or the invisible patterns of attack being executed. Humans had studied them, and they knew exactly where the weaknesses lay. The first shots rang out in a blur of light and fire. Alien turrets, long relied upon for their reliability, fired blindly, missing moving targets by meters. Missiles, programmed for predictable flight paths, exploded against decoy drones that humans had hidden in plain sight. Kale watched with satisfaction as the alien shields faltered. Every pulse of electromagnetic disruption, every targeted strike on power nodes, and every strategic breach tore their defense apart bit by bit. Chaos erupted on the alien command bridge. Officers screamed in disbelief as their precious station faltered under attack. "Impossible!" one shouted, multi-eyed head swiveling frantically. "It's supposed to be junk. How are they doing this?" But it was no miracle. It was human strategy, intelligence, and preparation in action. The fleet the aliens had sold as worthless was performing flawlessly. Every system Kale had integrated, every trick, every upgrade was now on full display. Meanwhile, the psychological impact spread like wildfire. Holographic projections made the fleet appear larger than it was, twisting and multiplying in ways the alien sensors couldn't predict. Panic spread faster than lasers. For the first time in decades, aliens realized they had truly underestimated humans. The very ships they had mocked were now instruments of terror, moving with eerie coordination and surgical precision. Missiles struck key shield generators, turrets collapsed, and hangars erupted in fire. The alien fleet scrambled, desperately attempting to regroup, but every response was anticipated, every maneuver countered. Human pilots, trained for adaptability, used debris and shadow to their advantage, luring alien ships into traps they couldn't even see. What had seemed impossible, the triumph of a broken fleet, was now reality. Kale maintained perfect calm, even as the station began to crumble. Ships executed their maneuvers with flawless timing, exploiting every flaw, every miscalculation, every overconfidence the aliens had shown. The humans' advantage was not just in firepower. It was in anticipation, in turning the aliens' arrogance against them. The fleet moved like a living organism, each vessel a neuron in a vast, lethal brain. Explosions lit the void as sections of the station collapsed. Smoke and plasma sparks illuminated the human ships, reflecting the terrifying precision of their attack. Pilots weaved in and out, striking targets, then vanishing into shadows, only to reappear in another position. The aliens could not follow, could not predict, and could not respond fast enough. Every system in the fleet functioned in perfect harmony, a testament to human adaptability. Broken engines had been rebuilt beyond their original capabilities, weapons recalibrated to surpass alien designs, shields enhanced with techniques never seen outside Earth's labs. Even the drones, once considered obsolete, moved with deadly coordination. The broken fleet was alive, intelligent, and unstoppable. By the time the first wave of assault concluded, the alien station was crippled. Key ships destroyed, defensive grids offline, and command signals scattered into the void. Panic had taken the place of strategy. What was meant to be a routine defense against a primitive species had become a catastrophic failure. The humans had not just attacked. They had rewritten the rules of engagement, showing a level of skill, patience, and ruthlessness that no one had anticipated. Kale allowed himself a moment to observe the aftermath. The aliens' attempts at resistance were scattered and ineffective. Their confidence had evaporated. Fear had replaced arrogance. The humans had demonstrated a terrifying truth. What was broken in human hands could become the most effective weapon imaginable. Even in the vast expanse of space, the aliens realized that they had miscalculated in ways that would cost them dearly. And yet, Kale knew this was only the beginning. The fleet held position, waiting, ready to strike again. The aliens would recover, they would plan, they would attempt counterattacks, but the humans had already proven something fundamental. Intelligence, strategy, and ingenuity could outperform raw numbers and overconfidence. And when the aliens understood the true power of humanity, it would be too late. The broken fleet had not only struck physically, It had shattered morale, destroyed arrogance, and sent a message across the galaxy. Earth was not weak. Humans were not foolish. And anything they touched, even broken, discarded, and overlooked, could become terrifying, unstoppable, and inevitable. Kale turned to his officers, a calm smile on his face, a spark of pride in his eyes. They think they've won. They think they're safe. They are not. This fleet is only the beginning. And when they learn what it truly means to underestimate Earth, the galaxy will never be the same. In the silent expanse beyond Zithera, the fleet gleamed. Outwardly familiar, seemingly flawed, but inside, a terrifying machine ready to strike again. The first battle had been a warning. The second would be a reckoning. And somewhere deep in the alien command centers, the first real signs of fear began to take hold. Humans had turned scrap into terror, and nothing, no force in the galaxy, would forget that night. The first strike had been a warning, but Admiral Kale knew better than to celebrate. The aliens were far from defeated. Their shattered morale would recover, their forces would regroup, and the galaxy would witness their vengeance. But humans did not wait for the enemy to act. They pressed forward. They had momentum, strategy, and a fleet that no one, not even the aliens, truly understood. The fleet moved silently through the void, stars streaking past like molten silver as ships accelerated into alien space. Each vessel was a study in human ingenuity, every system optimized, every weapon ready to strike with deadly precision. From the observation deck of the lead ship, Kale watched the holographic map of enemy territory unfold. The core fleet, their strongest and most centralized force, lay ahead. Massive ships bristling with turrets, shields layered like armor, and defenses that had crushed countless opponents before. They think they are safe, Kale muttered. They think they can hide behind numbers and technology. They have no idea what we've become. The alien fleets were organized, predictable. They relied on conventional formations, rigid defense grids, and automated drones that followed program patterns. The humans had studied every flaw, every routine, every overconfidence the aliens exhibited. Patterns repeated, strategies predictable, and arrogance blinded them to reality. Kale had anticipated their movements, planned countermoves, and calculated every possible reaction. It wasn't just war, it was an exercise in controlled chaos. Prepare for the ambush, Kale ordered. Deploy drones ahead and behind. Coordinate with the secondary squadrons. We strike the core from all angles simultaneously. The crew nodded, a mix of nerves and exhilaration shimmering in their eyes. They had trained for years for this moment, and now the time had come to prove that humans were not to be underestimated. The fleet descended into the asteroid field surrounding the alien homeworld. Massive chunks of rock drifted silently, shadows twisting through the void. The aliens relied on this natural barrier, believing that navigating through it while maintaining formation would be impossible for any attacking force. Humans, however, saw opportunity. Ships weaved seamlessly through the asteroids, using them as cover, hiding their true numbers, and confusing enemy sensors. Drones deployed decoy signals, creating illusions of multiple fleets converging from impossible angles. Every asteroid became a weapon, every shadow a potential strike vector. The first contact with the alien core fleet was electric. Lasers flashed across space, intercepted by human-calibrated shields. Missile salvos launched, only to be drawn into traps, detonating far from the intended targets. The aliens fired relentlessly, believing that numbers alone would win the day. But the humans had studied their responses, anticipated every overcorrection, and adjusted with split-second precision. The aliens were fighting ghosts, illusions, and an intelligence they could not predict. The fleet struck in waves. Human pilots synchronized their attacks to create maximum confusion. While one squadron feigned retreat, drawing alien fire, another struck from an angle the aliens hadn't accounted for, targeting shield nodes, weapon systems, and propulsion engines. Every move was precise, deliberate, and devastating. The aliens could not adapt fast enough. For every ship they destroyed, Two more appeared seemingly out of nowhere, perfectly positioned, perfectly armed, and perfectly coordinated. Kale's eyes narrowed as he observed the chaos. They think technology makes them superior, he murmured. But strategy, intelligence, and adaptability, those are human strengths. And they're about to learn the hard way. The humans had also learned to use the enemy's own arrogance against them. Alien warships, confident in their shields, overextended themselves, leaving gaps that humans exploited ruthlessly. A single, damaged cruiser, thought worthless by the aliens, became a decoy leading an entire wing into an ambush. Plasma torpedoes tore through hulls, drones incapacitated weapon systems, and targeted EMP pulses disabled key electronics. In minutes, the alien formation, once organized and intimidating, descended into chaos. Amid the battle, psychological warfare played its part. Holographic projections created the illusion of larger numbers, while synchronized ship maneuvers made it impossible for the aliens to track real positions. Every destroyed ship, every malfunctioning turret, every system failure reinforced the growing terror. The humans were not just fighting. They were orchestrating a symphony of destruction. On the alien command bridge, officers screamed, their multi-eyed heads swiveling in disbelief. How was this possible? One shrieked. They are not supposed to have these capabilities. Our defenses, our entire strategy, it's collapsing. The humans had turned what the aliens thought was a weak fleet into a living weapon, unpredictable, intelligent, and terrifyingly effective. Kale allowed a brief pause in the assault, letting the humans' precision strikes ripple through the enemy's ranks. Let them feel it, he said softly. Let them see that underestimation is fatal. Even the pilots felt it, a combination of exhilaration and calm control. They were not just fighting, they were rewriting the rules of warfare. Every system, every maneuver, every strategic decision was a message. Earth was not weak, and humans were not to be underestimated. The battle intensified as the humans moved deeper into the alien fleet's core. Shield generators exploded under precise plasma fire. Power nodes overheated, and navigation systems faltered. Alien ships collided with each other in confusion, some attempting to flee only to be intercepted by drones and secondary human squadrons. Nothing the aliens had prepared could withstand the relentless combination of intelligence, adaptability, and ruthlessness that humans now wielded. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes in the heat of battle. The human fleet, though outnumbered, maintained complete control. Every move was calculated, every strike lethal, every feint convincing. They had turned deception into advantage, scrap into weaponry, and underestimation into triumph. The aliens' pride had been shattered, replaced by a dawning, paralyzing fear. Humans were not merely surviving, they were dominating. By the time the fleet began a tactical withdrawal, the alien core fleet was in disarray. Key ships had been destroyed, weapon systems crippled, and communication networks jammed. Panic spread among alien ranks like wildfire, while human crews maintained calm, precision, and readiness. The first strike into the heart of enemy territory had succeeded beyond all expectations. Kale surveyed the battlefield, the debris, the smoke, the flickering shields. He allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. They will recover, he admitted. They will strike back. But they will never again underestimate what humans can do with intelligence, patience, and determination. The fleet held position just beyond the alien homeworld's orbit, ready for the next engagement. The galaxy would soon understand the terrifying truth. Humans could take what was considered broken, flawed, or insignificant and turn it into something unstoppable. They had transformed deception into dominance, underestimation into fear, and scrap into terror. And somewhere deep in the alien command centers, that realization began to sink in. Fear had taken root. For the first time, the aliens truly understood the power of humanity, and it terrified them. The battle had been won, but the war was only beginning. Yet in that moment, for the first time, humans held the upper hand. Their fleet, once sold as worthless, had become a force that would define the galaxy's understanding of Earth. Broken ships, rebuilt, reimagined, redeemed, and terrifying. Kale looked at his crew, their faces illuminated by the glow of the fleet. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They will fight back. But remember, we have something they cannot anticipate. Our mind, our patience, and our ability to turn their own arrogance against them. Tonight, the galaxy learned a lesson, and tomorrow they will learn the full extent of it." The stars stretched into lines as the fleet glided back into holding formation, ready to strike again. The aliens would never forget the night humans turned junk into terror, and Earth's reputation in the galaxy would be written not in fear alone, but in absolute, undeniable power. The alien core fleet was in chaos. Command signals scrambled, ships drifting out of formation, turrets firing blindly into empty space. Every system the aliens relied upon had been compromised by human ingenuity. Yet the true test was still ahead. The alien command station, the heart of their operations, the center of their pride. Destroy it, and the galaxy would know the full extent of humanity's power. Admiral Kale stood at the bridge of the flagship, eyes scanning the battle hologram. The station loomed ahead, massive and imposing, bristling with defensive systems that had never been breached. "This is it," he said. "All we've trained for. All we've built. Let's show them what humans can do." The fleet moved as one. Every ship, every pilot, every weapon system was synchronized perfectly. Decoy drones flew ahead, creating false images of the fleet, while the real ships used the cover of the asteroid belt to approach undetected. The aliens, panicked from the previous strikes, tried to reorganize, but their movements were slow, predictable, and vulnerable. Kale gave the order: target the shield generators first, disable them completely, then collapse the outer defenses. We hit fast, precise, and overwhelming. The first volley of attacks struck like thunder. Plasma torpedoes tore through shielding, EMP pulses disabled critical circuits, and laser arrays fired with surgical precision. The alien station shuddered under the assault, sparks and debris erupting from damaged hulls. The humans' broken fleet moved through the chaos, exploiting every gap, every flaw, every hesitation. From the command station, alien officers shouted in disbelief. How is this possible? They are attacking as if they know every move we'll make." Multi-eyed heads swiveled frantically, trying to track the human ships. Every attempt to coordinate defenses failed. Every countermeasure was anticipated, neutralized, or redirected against them. The human fleet pressed the attack relentlessly. Kale's strategy was not just destruction. It was psychological dominance. The aliens had been made to feel that no matter what they did, they could not stop the humans. Even the smallest victories were magnified through holographic projections, making the fleet appear larger, faster, deadlier than reality. Fear took root in the alien minds long before the physical destruction reached its peak. As the shields faltered, the humans moved closer, boarding drones deploying to key points, sabotaging systems from within. The aliens had expected a simple strike. They were unprepared for an invasion that combined precision, adaptation, and intelligence. The station's defense turrets began targeting the wrong positions. Missiles were intercepted, and key engines failed, leaving massive sections of the station exposed. Kale's calm voice resonated through the flagship. "Push forward. This is our moment. Every ship, every pilot, every weapon, do not hold back. Finish this." The fleet's attack intensified. Torpedoes ripped through the station's core, igniting plasma fires that spiraled across the outer hull. Explosions shattered windows, sent debris into the void, and lit the surrounding space with a fiery glow. Alien ships attempted desperate counterattacks, but they were outmaneuvered at every turn. The humans had anticipated every response, calculated every possible movement, and exploited every flaw. Within the station, the alien leadership tried to flee, attempting to escape to secondary command hubs. But the humans were faster, smarter, and relentless. Boarding drones intercepted escape pods, while precision strikes targeted engines and navigation systems. The once proud command center became a tomb, a warning, and a demonstration of human superiority. The fleet moved like a single organism, each ship a neuron in a lethal brain. The aliens had underestimated human intelligence, adaptability, and patience. Every broken system, every repaired engine, every reimagined weapon played a role in the destruction. The aliens had sold junk, but humans had turned it into a nightmare. Kale watched as the station's central power core destabilized. A massive explosion was inevitable. "Stand back," he said. The fleet formed a protective perimeter, shielding each other from a shockwave. Seconds later, the core detonated in a brilliant cascade of light and fire. The shockwave tore through the alien fleet, scattering ships, disabling systems, and creating a scene of total chaos. Even those who survived the initial blast were left demoralized and broken. The aliens had lost not just their command center, but their pride, their coordination, and their belief in their superiority. Humans had turned their deception into their undoing, demonstrating intelligence and adaptability the galaxy had never seen. As debris drifted in the void and the surviving aliens scrambled in confusion, Kale allowed himself a rare smile. "They thought they could cheat us," he said softly. "They thought they could underestimate Earth. And now, they will remember humanity forever." The fleet regrouped, no longer a collection of repaired ships, but a symbol of resilience, strategy, and intelligence. The galaxy had seen humans turn failure into power, junk into a weapon, and deception into victory. From a shattered command station, faint signals of surrender and panic echoed across space. The humans had proven a simple truth. Nothing sold to them as worthless would remain so. Anything, even a broken fleet, could become terrifying in human hands. Kale addressed his fleet, voice steady and commanding. "We have won today, but the galaxy is watching. Remember this. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every weakness is a weapon, and every underestimation of humanity is a mistake you will regret. We have shown them who we are. Let the galaxy remember it." And as the fleet drifted beyond Zithra, the stars reflecting on reinforced hulls, every pilot knew the same thing. Humanity had transcended expectation, turning deception into dominance, weakness into terror, and scrap into unstoppable power. The night had ended, but its lessons would echo across the cosmos. The aliens had learned the cost of underestimating humans, and the galaxy had witnessed the rise of species that refused to be bound by expectation, logic, or limitation. The broken fleet was gone. What remained was something terrifying, unstoppable, and unforgettable. Humanity had struck the heart of the enemy and emerged victorious, sending a clear message: underestimate Earth at your peril. Anything humans touched, even broken, discarded, or forgotten, could become the deadliest weapon in the galaxy. Kale looked out at the void, his eyes reflecting the burning wreckage of the alien command station. "They will rebuild," he murmured, "but they will never forget this. And we will be ready." The fleet continued its silent patrol, prepared for the next challenge, stronger, smarter, and more terrifying than any force in the galaxy. Humanity had proven that intelligence, patience, and adaptability were as lethal as any weapon, and in the void of space, that was all that mattered. For the first time, the galaxy truly understood the power of humans. And it was terrifying. The ruins of Zithra's command station still glowed faintly in the void, a scar across the darkness of space. Debris drifted slowly, fragments of alien pride and technology twisted into useless shapes. The alien core fleet, once formidable and feared, had been scattered, crippled, and demoralized. But Admiral Kale knew better than to consider the battle over. The first strike had been decisive, yes, but the war was not yet complete. "Survivors are fleeing to the outer sectors," Kale said, scanning the latest recon data. His calm voice contrasted with the excitement and tension humming through the fleet. "We cannot let them regroup. Every remaining ship, Every officer, every piece of alien command infrastructure must be neutralized. We finish this before they can even think of retaliation. The fleet responded with precision. Ships split into multiple squadrons, each assigned specific objectives. Intercept escape pods, disable residual warships, and target repair stations where alien forces might attempt to rebuild. Every movement was coordinated with perfect timing. Drones deployed to sabotage repair bays, and strike teams prepared for boarding. The human strategy had evolved. It was no longer just defense or attack. It was pursuit, domination, and complete control. The surviving aliens scrambled. Desperate, uncoordinated maneuvers replaced their previous confidence. Systems failed mid-combat as humans anticipated every reaction. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and communications became garbled. Panic spread faster than lasers ever could. The aliens had learned to fear humans, but now, fear had become paralysis. Kale observed the carnage, his mind calculating the next steps. He knew the importance of psychological dominance as much as physical destruction. To fully consolidate their victory, humans needed to demonstrate power, intelligence, and ruthlessness. Every surviving alien would know that underestimating Earth was a fatal mistake. The fleet moved into the outer sectors of Zithra's system. Asteroid belts, previously used as natural defense, now became traps. Human ships twisted through the debris with unmatched precision, drawing alien survivors into zones where weapons were optimized for maximum impact. Plasma torpedoes and laser arrays struck from impossible angles, destroying ships in spectacular displays of light and fire. The remaining alien vessels were outmaneuvered, outthought, and outgunned. On board one of the fleeing alien ships, officers stared in disbelief at their sensors. They are everywhere, faster, smarter, and coordinating as if they are one organism. One attempted to engage a countermeasure, but the human fleet anticipated it. A focused volley of missiles struck the ship, forcing it to drift helplessly. Panic turned into despair as the humans systematically neutralized all threats. Kale allowed a moment to appreciate the operation's efficiency. Every ship had performed perfectly, every maneuver coordinated with precision, and every strategy executed flawlessly. The broken fleet, once a symbol of human deception, had become a force that combined ingenuity, patience, and ruthlessness. Humans had taken what was discarded and created a weapon unparalleled in the galaxy. As squads intercepted alien escape pods, boarding teams moved swiftly. These were not attacks for destruction alone, they were demonstrations. Captured officers were questioned, their knowledge of tactics exploited, and the remaining alien leadership was made aware of human dominance. Each interaction sent a clear message. Earth would not be trifled with, and every attempt to cheat, deceive, or underestimate humans would be met with absolute precision and calculated retribution. The psychological toll on the alien forces was as significant as the physical one. Communications across the scattered fleet indicated confusion, fear, and a complete loss of morale. Their ships, once symbols of technological superiority, had become floating coffins. Systems they relied on were turned against them. Their training, discipline, and arrogance had been weaponized by human intelligence. Kale convened the fleet commanders for a briefing. "We are not just winning," he said, his voice calm but powerful. "We are demonstrating a principle. Intelligence, patience, and adaptability are more deadly than raw power. The galaxy is learning the cost of underestimating humanity. We finish the hunt swiftly and decisively, but we do so with precision. No mistakes, no mercy for those who would challenge us." The fleet moved with unyielding determination. Human ships anticipated every alien movement, creating ambushes, deploying decoys, and exploiting weaknesses at every opportunity. Even the most cautious alien commanders found themselves outmatched. Escape routes were blocked, shield generators neutralized, and propulsion systems disabled. The humans had transformed every battlefield into a test of intelligence, and they were winning. Within hours, The remnants of the alien fleet were reduced to isolated survivors, fleeing across sectors with no hope of regrouping. The humans pursued relentlessly, but always with strategic restraint. Each strike was calculated to maximize impact while minimizing wasted effort. This was not just victory, it was teaching a lesson, reinforcing the idea that humans were not to be underestimated. Kale watched as alien ships disintegrated under precise volleys of fire, but his mind was already planning the next steps. "We must secure their repair facilities and command hubs," he instructed. "We leave no room for recovery. We ensure that when this battle ends, it ends completely." The humans moved systematically, striking repair stations before the aliens could react. Energy cores, weapons depots, and shield generators were neutralized. Each strike was a demonstration of capability, reinforcing fear and respect. The galaxy would not forget the lesson. Humans had turned a broken fleet into a force capable of annihilating superior numbers, and they had done so with strategy, intelligence, and precision that no one could match. Even as the aliens attempted to regroup on remote planets and hidden stations, human reconnaissance and patrols ensured no escape was possible. Every hiding place, every possible base of operation was identified and neutralized. The human fleet moved like a predator through the void, relentless, adaptive, and terrifying. By the end of the campaign, the alien forces were scattered, demoralized, and shattered. Their once mighty fleet was reduced to fragments, their leadership either captured or destroyed, and their pride obliterated. Humans had not only won, they had demonstrated that intelligence, ingenuity, and adaptability could surpass sheer numbers and technology. Kale allowed a moment to reflect. The victory was complete, not only in physical terms, but in psychological and strategic terms. The humans had proven a point to the galaxy. Underestimate them at your own peril. What had been sold as junk had become a weapon unmatched in both power and cunning. The fleet regrouped in orbit above the former alien command hub. Every ship, every crew member, every weapon system had performed flawlessly. The lesson was clear, and the galaxy had already begun to understand the truth. Humanity was not just a player. It was a force to be feared, respected, and reckoned with. Kale looked at the stars, illuminated by distant explosions and glowing debris. "They will rebuild," he said softly, "but they will never again underestimate humans. And when the next challenge comes, we will be ready, smarter, stronger, and more terrifying than before." The fleet continued its patrol, a silent, gleaming reminder across the void. Humans had turned deception into dominance, scrap into terror, and weakness into unstoppable power. The galaxy had learned a simple truth that night: underestimate Earth, and pay the price in full. The remnants of the alien fleet were scattered across multiple star systems, hiding behind asteroid belts, gas giants, and remote orbital stations. But Admiral Kale and his fleet were relentless. They had learned that victory was not complete until every last threat was neutralized. The broken fleet was no longer just a symbol of ingenuity. It was now a tool of total dominance, and humans wielded it with precision, patience, and terrifying efficiency. Kale stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the tactical display fill with moving dots representing remaining alien forces. Each dot was a target. Each target was a challenge humans were eager to turn into a demonstration of supremacy. "No one escapes," Kale said, his voice calm yet unyielding. "Every ship, every command hub, every fleet fragment must be found and neutralized. This ends tonight." The fleet split into specialized task forces, each assigned to track down specific threats. Reconnaissance drones swept through debris fields, scanning for life signs, energy signatures, and warp traces. Every hidden station was located, every cloaked vessel revealed. Humans had turned intelligence gathering into an art form. Nothing escaped their notice. Alien commanders, desperate and terrified, attempted last-minute counterattacks, but they were met with overwhelming precision. Squadrons of human ships struck simultaneously from multiple vectors. Missiles detonated near engines, disabling propulsion. Laser arrays cut through shields and hull plating. Boarding drones infiltrated internal systems, shutting down power and weaponry from within. The aliens were no longer fighting. They were fleeing, panicking, and collapsing under pressure. Kale allowed himself a brief pause to observe. The once proud alien forces were being methodically dismantled. Their ships, once superior in technology and numbers, were now being reduced one by a fleet humans had once been cheated into buying as scrap. Every attack was clean, calculated, and devastating, leaving no room for recovery or regrouping. Target their escape routes, Kale ordered. Predict their maneuvers, anticipate their warp points, and cut them off. We leave no gaps. We allow no chance for survival. The human fleet executed flawlessly. Alien ships attempting to flee were intercepted, their systems disabled, or their crews captured. Hidden repair stations and hidden caches were revealed and destroyed. Panic and confusion spread through the alien ranks as every attempt to regroup failed. What had been a battle for territory was now a campaign of total domination, psychological warfare, and absolute control. Even as the fleet pursued the last pockets of resistance, Kale maintained a steady focus. Every move, every strike, every maneuver was calculated not only to destroy, but to instill fear and respect. Humans had turned the battlefield into a stage for demonstrating their superiority, and every surviving alien would carry that lesson into every corner of the galaxy. As the final orbital stations were destroyed and scattered ships neutralized, Kale allowed a rare smile. The galaxy had witnessed what humans could do with intelligence, patience, and adaptability. A fleet once sold as worthless scrap had become a terrifying instrument of power. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and the consequences had been catastrophic. The human fleet regrouped above the now-defunct command systems. Every crew member had performed flawlessly. Weapons systems were recharged, shields recalibrated, and drones returned from missions to report success. The remnants of the alien forces were no longer a threat. Humans had demonstrated beyond doubt that Earth was not just a player in galactic affairs. It was the dominant force. Kale addressed the fleet through the comms. We have neutralized every threat in this sector. The galaxy has learned a lesson tonight. Underestimate humans, and you will fail. But remember, our victory is not for glory alone. It is a testament to intelligence, strategy, and the power of adaptation. We are prepared for whatever comes next. Beyond the strategic calculations and military triumph, the psychological impact was profound. Across alien space, survivors and observers began spreading word of humanity's dominance. Ships once considered superior had been destroyed or captured. Stations deemed impregnable had fallen. The so-called broken fleet had become an unstoppable force, and the galaxy had witnessed it firsthand. Kale reflected on the journey from deception to dominance. The aliens had sold humans a fleet they thought worthless. They had underestimated patience, intelligence, and creativity. Every weakness had been turned into a weapon, every flaw into an advantage. The victory was not just physical. It was intellectual, psychological, and symbolic. The fleet held position, patrolling the former territory of the alien forces. Sensors scanned for any remaining signs of life or resistance. None were found. The remnants of the alien empire were scattered, their pride shattered, their technology compromised, and their morale destroyed. Humans had transformed the galaxy's perception of their species in a single campaign. Kale allowed himself a final observation. They will rebuild, he murmured, but they will never again underestimate humans. And when they try, we will be waiting, smarter, stronger, and more terrifying than before. The fleet continued its patrol, silent, precise, and ready. Every ship, every crew member, every drone had proven that intelligence, adaptability, and strategy could surpass raw numbers and technology. Humanity had turned deception into dominance, junk into power, and a so-called broken fleet into a weapon of unmatched terror. Across the galaxy, word spread. Humans were no longer a species to be overlooked, underestimated, or deceived. They had proven themselves capable of turning every challenge, every weakness, and every opportunity into an unstoppable force. And the message was clear: Earth would not be trifled with. Anyone who dared underestimate humanity would pay the price in full. The stars stretched endlessly, reflecting on the hulls of the fleet. Humans had shown the galaxy the truth of their strength. They had transformed what others saw as failure into a terrifying reality. And as Kale observed the void, he knew the story was far from over, but the foundation had been laid. Humans had proven their dominance, and the galaxy would never forget it. The remnants of alien resistance were scattered, broken, and terrified. Every surviving ship attempted to flee to the farthest reaches of space, hoping that the humans would not follow. But Admiral Kale's fleet was relentless. They had proven over and over that what others considered impossible, tracking, anticipating, and neutralizing threats, was routine for humans. The galaxy had underestimated them, and now it was paying the price. Kale stood on the bridge of the flagship, eyes scanning the tactical map. Tiny dots represented the last fragments of alien ships, isolated, uncoordinated, and vulnerable. "We will leave nothing," Kale said, his voice calm but full of authority. "Every fleet fragment, every command post, every weapon station must be neutralized. Complete dominance is the only acceptable outcome." The fleet split into multiple waves, each assigned to a specific sector. Reconnaissance drones scouted ahead, detecting hidden cloaked ships and dormant defense systems. Every movement was precise, every attack calculated. Humans had learned to anticipate not only the aliens' technology, but also their psychology. Fear, confusion, and panic were as much a weapon as plasma cannons or torpedoes. Alien commanders attempted desperate maneuvers, hoping to regroup or escape through warp tunnels and hidden paths. But the human fleet was already several steps ahead. Sensors detected every movement, algorithms calculated the most effective intercept points, and the fleet struck with deadly precision. Escape was impossible. The first wave engaged a group of fleeing alien destroyers. Plasma torpedoes detonated in perfect synchronization, tearing through shields and hulls before the aliens could even react. Boarding drones infiltrated internal systems, shutting down propulsion and weapons. Alien crews screamed in disbelief as their ships drifted helplessly through space. Casualties of strategy they could not comprehend. Kale's second wave targeted orbital stations and hidden depots. Even remote locations that the aliens believed were safe were found and destroyed. Energy cores were neutralized, shield arrays overloaded, and weapons systems rendered useless. Every strike reinforced the psychological impact. Humans could reach anywhere, anticipate every move, and turn any location into a battlefield favorable to them. The final pockets of alien resistance attempted to band together, desperate to mount a coordinated attack. But the humans had anticipated this. Multiple squadrons converged simultaneously, attacking from angles the aliens could not predict. Ships collided, shields failed, and the remaining alien fleet was decimated. The so-called superiority of alien technology proved irrelevant against the intelligence, adaptability, and strategic genius of humans. Kale observed the battle unfold with meticulous focus. Every maneuver, every strike, and every calculation was executed flawlessly. The fleet operated like a single organism, each vessel a neuron in a lethal network. Humans had turned what was once considered scrap into a weapon of absolute dominance. The aliens had underestimated them, and the consequences were catastrophic. Even as the last alien ships were destroyed or captured, Kale ensured the fleet maintained its discipline. No reckless moves, no wasted attacks, no unnecessary casualties. The objective was total control, total psychological dominance, and a demonstration of humanity's capacity to overcome any challenge. Across the alien remnants, fear had become paralysis. Communications were jammed, navigation systems failed, and morale had collapsed completely. Humans had transformed every perceived weakness into strength, every flaw into an advantage. The galaxy had witnessed a species that could take deception, manipulation, and discarded technology and turn it into an unstoppable force. Kale addressed the fleet through the comms. The battle is over. Every threat in this sector has been neutralized. Humanity has demonstrated what others have refused to see. Intelligence, strategy, and adaptability are more powerful than raw numbers or technology. Let the galaxy remember this lesson well. The fleet regrouped, scanning the void for any remaining threats. None were found. The aliens had been defeated not only in battle, but in spirit. Humans had turned underestimation into triumph, deception into power, and weakness into terror. The so-called broken fleet had become a symbol of humanity's unstoppable ingenuity. As Kale looked out at the void, reflecting on the destruction and triumph, he allowed himself a rare moment of pride. The fleet, once mocked and sold as worthless, had reshaped the galaxy's understanding of humans. Intelligence, patience, and adaptability had proven to be lethal weapons, far more deadly than the aliens' overconfidence and superior technology. The remaining alien forces, those who survived, began sending messages of surrender, recognizing the futility of resistance. Every message reinforced the lesson. Humans were no longer just a species to be considered. They were a force of absolute dominance. Kale knew that the galaxy had changed that day. Humans had proven themselves capable of turning adversity, deception, and even weakness into unparalleled power. The stars reflected on the fleet's hulls, shining like a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. The campaign had transformed what was once a broken fleet into a weapon of terror, domination, and inspiration. The fleet continued its patrol, silent and imposing, a living demonstration of human superiority. Across the galaxy, those who had doubted Earth, who had underestimated humanity, would remember the lesson for generations. Humans could take what others considered useless, broken, or inferior, and turn it into something terrifyingly unstoppable. Kale looked to the crew, pride in his eyes. Today we have one more than battles. We have one recognition, respect, and dominance. Humanity will no longer be underestimated. The galaxy has seen our power, and it will never forget it. And as the fleet glided through the stars, leaving trails of light and whispers of fear in the alien sectors, a new reality emerged. Humanity had not only defended itself, it had transformed the very rules of engagement in the galaxy. The broken fleet was gone. What remained was a symbol of intelligence, adaptability, and absolute supremacy. The void was silent, but its silence was filled with meaning. Humans had risen, not through brute force alone, but through brilliance, strategy, and unwavering resolve. The galaxy had learned a truth it could not ignore: underestimate humanity at your peril. For Admiral Kale, for the fleet, and for Earth, the message was clear. The galaxy had changed, and humans would never be overlooked again. The story of the broken fleet had ended, but the legend of humanity's dominance had only begun. The galaxy was quiet, but was a tense, uneasy quiet, the calm after a storm. The alien forces that had once laughed at humanity, that had sold them broken ships and underestimated their resolve, were no longer a threat. Their fleets shattered, their command structures destroyed, and their morale crushed. They had learned a lesson written in plasma, fire, and strategy. Humans had turned deception into dominance, junk into terror, and weakness into unstoppable power. Admiral Kale stood on the bridge of the flagship, looking at the expanse of stars. Every dot on the tactical map represented control, systems secured, fleets neutralized, and previously hostile sectors now silent under human authority. "This is more than victory," Kale said, his voice calm but carrying weight. "This is recognition. Every corner of the galaxy now knows Earth is not to be underestimated. Every species, every leader, every officer, They've all witnessed what humans can do when pushed to the edge. The fleet moved methodically through the systems once controlled by the aliens, ensuring no residual resistance remained. Reconnaissance drones scanned every moon, asteroid belt, and remote station. Boarding teams inspected derelict ships, retrieving technology and intelligence. Every operation was executed with precision, leaving no room for surprise attacks or hidden threats. Every surviving alien crew was given a choice: surrender or be neutralized. Messages of compliance spread quickly, each reinforcing the humans' dominance. The galaxy had learned that Earth did not negotiate with deception. It commanded respect through intelligence, strategy, and capability. Those who resisted were destroyed or captured, their failures serving as a stark reminder of the cost of underestimating humanity. On board the flagship, Kale addressed the fleet. "We have not only won battles," he said, "we have rewritten the rules of engagement. Intelligence, adaptability, and strategy have proven more powerful than numbers alone. Humans have shown that even what others consider broken can be turned into a weapon of terror. The galaxy has witnessed our strength, and they will remember it." The fleet's patrols ensured that human control extended across all key sectors previously held by alien forces. Every repair hub, shipyard, and orbital station was either neutralized or repurposed under human supervision. Technology that had once been used against them was now studied, upgraded, and integrated into human systems. The so-called broken fleet had evolved into a symbol of ingenuity and unstoppable force. Word of humanity's dominance spread beyond the immediate systems. Allied species, neutral observers, and even distant empires began to take notice. Humans had demonstrated not just military superiority, but strategic brilliance. The galaxy was starting to acknowledge that Earth had become a force capable of reshaping political, military, and social dynamics across star systems. Kale allowed himself a moment of reflection. From deception to triumph, from scrap to terror, humanity had accomplished what no one thought possible. The fleet had been underestimated, sold as worthless, and mocked. But humans had turned every obstacle into advantage. Every system had been optimized, every flaw exploited, and every opportunity seized. The galaxy had witnessed not just a battle, but a demonstration of what humans could achieve when pushed to extremes. Across the conquered sectors, alien leaders began sending emissaries, offering terms of surrender and alliance. Their arrogance had been broken, replaced by cautious respect. Humans were no longer seen as a fledgling species. They were recognized as a dominant power, capable of both strategy and overwhelming force. Every decision, every victory, every demonstration of ingenuity reinforced a single truth: Earth commanded respect. In the command halls of the flagship, Kale reviewed reports from the fleet. Every mission was successful, every resistance eliminated, and every system secure. The humans had not merely fought, they had conquered with intelligence, precision, and strategy. The galaxy had learned a hard truth: to underestimate humans was fatal. As the stars stretched endlessly outside the bridge windows, Kale addressed the crew. "We have turned deception into power, scrap into terror, and weakness into dominance. The galaxy now knows our name, our capability, and our determination. Remember this moment. This is the beginning of humanity's era among the stars." The fleet moved in formation through the conquered systems, a shining demonstration of human mastery. Ships that had once been mocked as scrap now gleamed, weapons and engines enhanced beyond their original design, representing both capability and the ingenuity of their creators. Every alien species observing this fleet understood the simple truth: humans were not to be underestimated. Even distant sectors, where humans had yet to intervene directly, began to react. Rumors, stories, and intelligence reports spread rapidly, creating a galaxy-wide recognition of Earth's dominance. Humans had set a precedent. Underestimation of their ingenuity, strategy, or resilience would no longer be tolerated. Kale observed the calm after the storm, aware that this victory was as much symbolic as it was strategic. Humans had demonstrated that intelligence, creativity, and adaptability could surpass raw power. They had turned what was once considered worthless into a weapon unmatched in the galaxy. The broken fleet was no longer a fleet, it was a legend. For the crew, for humanity, and for Earth, the campaign had proven a simple truth. The galaxy would remember that humans were capable, resourceful, and unstoppable. Any species that attempted deception, betrayal, or mockery would now think twice. The fleet's patrols continued, ensuring that control remained absolute. Every system, every sector, and every surviving threat was monitored. Humans had secured not just victory, but supremacy. Every alien observer now recognized the new hierarchy of power in the galaxy, with Earth at its center. Kale looked at the stars once more. We have proven what humans can do. We have turned trash into terror, deception into dominance, and weakness into power. Let this be remembered in every corner of the galaxy. Earth is no longer to be underestimated. Our time has begun. And so, the fleet sailed through the stars, silent, precise, and imposing. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a species that refused to be underestimated, that could turn the impossible into reality, and that could transform even what others considered worthless into something terrifying. Humans had won not just battles, they had won recognition, respect, and dominance. The story of the broken fleet had come full circle. From deception, humans had forged an unstoppable force. From weakness, they had created terror. And from underestimation, they had proven that Earth would no longer be overlooked. Humanity had risen. The galaxy had watched. And the legend of Earth's supremacy had only just begun.